If you've watched my recent video where I come clean about my peptide use, I'll link it above, you'll know that I've been microdosing Retatrutide for a while now, and the results far surpassed my expectations. But here's what I didn't cover in that video: the protocol around it. Because Retatrutide on its own, sure, it works, sure, you could get some short-term results, but if you want those results to last, you need to be doing the right things alongside it. What you eat, how you train, and how you recover while you're on it determines whether you come out of this leaner and stronger, or whether you lose muscle, feel flat, and wonder why it isn't working the way you expected. Today I'm covering the exact framework I follow, and this applies no matter what GLP-1 you're on. Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, the same protocol applies. Because I know a big concern that a lot of people have around GLP-1s is whether or not the results will last. And that is a fair criticism, because a lot of the research shows that when people stop drugs like Ozempic, they gain all of the weight back. But let me tell you, there is a way to avoid that. Today I'm covering protein, macros, why intermittent fasting might not be as important if you're on Retatrutide, resistance training, eating enough, hydration, which is more important on weight loss peptides than most people realize. Retatrutide suppresses appetite. That's partly the point. But appetite suppression is not the same as not needing fuel. And this is where most people start to go wrong. When your appetite drops dramatically, it becomes very easy to undereat, particularly protein. And if you're not eating enough protein while on a peptide that accelerates fat loss, you're going to lose muscle as well. You will lose weight, but you're probably not going to like what you look like at the end of it. And your metabolism will be in a worse position than when you started. The goal here is not just weight loss. The goal is body recomposition, losing fat while preserving or building muscle. And that can sometimes require deliberate eating, even when you're not hungry. This is not a drug that rewards restriction. It rewards smart fueling. Protein is the foundation of this protocol, full stop. On Retatrutide, your appetite is suppressed, glucagon is elevated, and your body is in an accelerated fat-burning state. That environment is excellent for fat loss, but it also means muscle protein synthesis needs to be actively supported. It won't just happen by accident. Every meal needs to be built around protein first, not as an afterthought. The target is roughly 1 gram of protein per pound of your ideal body weight per day, spread across your meals. If your appetite is suppressed and you're only able to eat 2 meals a day, those meals need to carry the full protein load. Now, if you've been around my channel for a while, you will know that animal protein is the best option here. It's the most bioavailable. Eggs, beef, chicken, fish, Greek yogurt. And if you're still struggling to hit your protein targets due to appetite suppression, a high-quality protein powder is a practical solution. Just make sure it doesn't have any added sugar, any added filler. I'll link a few of my favorite brands in the description box down below. But the key takeaway is to eat your protein. Now, here's something that surprises people, and this is coming from someone who is a huge advocate for low-carb diets for metabolic health. Because Retatrutide activates glucagon receptors, your body naturally shifts towards fat oxidation and ketone production. I covered this in my previous peptide video, but my ketones are a lot higher when I'm on Retatrutide, even if I'm eating higher carbohydrates. What this means practically is that you don't need to eat as low carb when you're on Retatrutide in order to see results. Some people say that eating carbs helps it to work better, but that's not exactly true. Your body is already doing the metabolic work. Forcing a very low carb intake on top of that can push your ketones higher and disrupt your sleep, which can impact your recovery and make the process harder. So use carbohydrates strategically, mainly around training, when your muscles can use them directly. This supports performance, recovery, and muscle retention without interfering with the fat-burning state the peptide already is creating. Now, fat should also be adequate. You don't want to eat low fat when you're on Retatrutide. It is extremely important for hormonal health, especially for women. But you don't need to chase ketosis deliberately. The peptide is handling that. So the framework: eat enough protein, use carbs strategically, don't fear them, and make sure you're getting enough fat. And of course, eat mainly whole foods whenever possible. Now, with that being said, in my previous video, I spoke about how Retatrutide actually kind of puts you off processed food. It makes you not want it as much, which actually works in your favor here. So cook your meals, eat from home when you can. You still can eat out, but follow this framework. Even when you're eating out, get enough protein in. Intermittent fasting works largely because it means a decrease in insulin and an increase in glucagon, which shifts the body towards fat burning. But Retatrutide is already doing both of these things through its mechanism. Glucagon is elevated, ketones are up, and insulin drops. So the metabolic benefits you'd normally chase through fasting are already happening on Retatrutide, which means you don't need to stack aggressive fasting on top of that. In fact, doing so can actually work against you. It can make hitting your protein goal even harder because you have to eat it in a smaller window. So don't get me wrong, I am a huge fan of extended fasting every once in a while. I am a huge fan of intermittent fasting as a tool if it works for you, but because you're already using a different tool in this scenario, it might not be necessary. Eat when you need to eat. Keep your meal structured, but don't feel like you need to fast for 18 hours a day on top of everything else. Your body is already in the state that fasting is trying to create. Now, I want to be really direct about this. If you're on a weight loss peptide and you're not doing any resistance training, you're gonna be losing muscle. It's that simple. Resistance training is a signal that tells your body to preserve and build muscle, even in a calorie deficit. Without that signal, your body has no reason to keep it. And on a peptide that's suppressing appetite, this becomes even more important. Now, this doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be extreme. 2 to 3 sessions per week. They can be body weight. You can use weights. You can use kettlebells, dumbbells, whatever you have. Just work your muscles. Be consistent. Challenge your body. Your body will respond to those signals in a favorable way. The combination of adequate protein and resistance training is what separates people who look incredible after a peptide cycle from people who look thinner but maybe not their best. Now, this is what I want to talk about from personal experience because it did catch me off guard. One of the side effects I've noticed on Retatrutide is a dry mouth. Not the worst side effect to experience by any means, but still a little annoying. And I'm someone who is pretty on top of my hydration. I drink enough water and supplement electrolytes every single day. But on Retatrutide, I've noticed I've had to increase that even more. And this has only further solidified for me how important electrolytes are when you're on these peptides. Because if you're just drinking plain water, you're still going to be losing sodium, potassium, and magnesium faster than you can replace them. And when electrolytes are low, the symptoms, which include things like headaches, fatigue, brain fog, muscle cramps, are easy to mistake for peptide side effects, but they're actually a hydration issue. And let me tell you, sodium has been an even bigger lifesaver for me the last couple of months. This is an electrolyte I use daily, and I've been using daily for years. I pretty much don't drink any plain water at this point. And so many times I hear people talk about the side effects of Retatrutide and GLP-1 medications, saying they are absolutely exhausted, they have brain fog, they can't think clearly, they're getting headaches. It's really just an electrolyte issue. Because when you think about it, the average person who is eating a lot of processed food, eating the standard American diet, they're getting a lot of their electrolytes in from this processed food. And this is why a lot of people who switch to a whole food diet and especially a low carb diet really need to supplement these electrolytes. Do not fear sodium. It's not going to make you puffy. It's an essential electrolyte. And if you're eating less processed food, if you're eating less food overall because your appetite is suppressed, it's even more important. But unfortunately, most electrolyte supplements out there don't have a meaningful amount of sodium, at least. They're filled with sugar, artificial flavors, junk. Sodi actually has the sodium you need. If you want to check them out, they do ship worldwide, and you can use code HCK15 to save 15%. My current favorite is the salty kiwi. Retatrutide is a powerful tool, not a passive one. The people who get the best results are the ones who treat it as an accelerant for the habits they're already building, not a replacement for them. It's not a solution on its own. So eat enough. Prioritize protein at every meal, even if you're not hungry. Add a protein shake in if you need it. Use carbohydrates around your training. Don't force aggressive fasting on top of everything you're already doing. Lift weights consistently and stay hydrated. Use this protocol and you will not be disappointed by the results. You're gonna feel good during the process. You're gonna keep the muscle on and you're gonna lose the weight you need to, all without any food noise or cravings. Now, if you missed my previous video where I talk about my experience on peptides, including Retatrutide, I'll link that on the screen now. In that video, I talk about my reasons for microdosing And spoiler alert, I didn't start it for weight loss. Now, I do just want to say before we wrap up, right now Retatrutide is research use only. This means it can't be prescribed by your doctor, but it's looking like it's going to become more widely available very soon. So that's why I wanted to create this video. So you have the necessary information you need, so if you decide Retatrutide is right for you, you can set yourself up for success and long-lasting results. Thanks guys for watching, and don't forget to check out Sodi. Honestly, I'm not over-exaggerating when I talk about the difference that supplementing electrolytes can make when you're on any GLP-1 medication. You really do need them. You're gonna feel so much better. So I'll put the link to check out Sodi in the description box down below.